My name is Michelle Trotter and I'm Business Development Specialist here at Eagle. As COVID-19 continues to impact the nation, the FDA is finding ways to help pharmacies and hospitals get medications to those who are infected. On April 20th, the FDA issued a temporary policy enabling 503A compounding pharmacies to compound certain medications without the requirement of patient-specific prescription during the COVID-19 public health emergency. Let's hear from Dr. David Hussong in Washington, D.C. as he breaks down this guidance document.
So FDA has just released a guidance document for the 503A compounding pharmacies. It relates to the release of products prepared under conditions that are unusual under this COVID-19 emergency condition. It does allow certain drugs to be compounded in a 503A facility that are on the FDA drug shortage list. That had been primarily the role of outsourcing before. FDA feels that these are not commercially available, so it makes sense that they're allowed to put out. And one of the cool things about this is these products can be put forward sort of on an anticipatory basis. That means you don't need a prescription to compound and send them forward to the clinics. So these can be dispensed, and particular conditions are outlined. The FDA says they will not take regulatory action against compounding facilities providing these medications. Again, that's a big change, but these are unusual times. Pharmacies, when preparing these products, must comply with the very basic assumption of manufacturing under their insanitary conditions requirements. And that means you got to keep it clean. You got to do the right things and prevent contamination. That means the drugs may not be packed, prepared, or held under insanitary conditions. And those are spelled out in other guidance documents. So the drug must be compounded and included on a list of specific drugs for those patients hospitalized with COVID-19. The list is provided in Appendix A of the guidance document. The guidance specifies that the active ingredients found on the list are within the Appendix A. Hospital must inform the compounding pharmacy if they're treating patients, and then they have to notify FDA that these drugs are being used and compounded for this purpose. Compounded drug, again, has to be labeled with beyond use dates in accordance with an Appendix B, in that guidance document. Pharmacies got to mark the order with a notation. The drug is provided to a hospital to treat patients for the COVID-19 emergency. Pharmacy must treat a request to the hospital that they provide records identifying the patients to whom the drugs are administered within a month of dispensing these drugs. Before providing these drugs to the hospital, pharmacy must notify state authorities of the intent to dispense non-patient specific medications. It's important to follow the restrictions in those those appendices. This is a condition that needs to be carefully monitored by the pharmacy. There's a very specific list of drugs, and you'll find them in Appendix A. The default bud dates listed in Appendix B are provided, and these are very similar to, but more specific than are found in the compounding USP guidance documents. Of considerable note is that there's not a reference to the frozen drug products, only controlled temperature and refrigerated products. And in some circumstances, they point out that a shorter bud date may be necessary. For example, if the pharmacy has not been able to obtain personal protective equipment that it typically uses, they may have to reduce the bud date to 24 hours. A very notable exception in this is that for those drugs that are sterile, a sterility test is expected but it specifically acknowledges the use of rapid sterility tests as an alternative to USP Chapter 71. Rapid sterility tests are noted in USP Chapter 1071, and these are tests that are available and still need to have validation or at least method suitability testing. Speak with your laboratory about that. This policy can be changed or withdrawn at any time and without advance notice. This is something that means the pharmacy has to be on top of it. So stay in touch and follow the careful instructions from FDA to make sure that you stay within your proper boundaries here.
Thank you, David. If you have any questions for us about this guidance document, you can submit your questions through our fact check form on our website.